Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar today on connecting with your customers using LibraryAware. We apologize for the delayed start. We were just having some technical difficulties getting our second organizer online and able to view all of your questions. I'll start by just getting my slides up and going here. So just give me a moment. I'm going to show my screen here. All right. And Laura, my colleague Laura is on the call with us here today. Laura, could you confirm that you can see my PowerPoint presentation?
I can see it's big,
Awesome.
bright, teal screen.
All right. So why don't we start with introductions? I know most of you on the list, and most of you know me. My name is Jessica Knock, and I'm a librarian over at Yellowhead Regional Library Headquarters. And on the webinar with me today is Laura Peters, my colleague in the Collection Resource Management Unit, but also trainer extraordinaire. Laura will be working behind the scenes, maybe chit-chatting with me, confirming a few things, and she's also going to be monitoring the questions. She will be stopping my stream of consciousness talking throughout the session to remind me that you guys have questions so that I can answer them to the best of my ability. So please make use of that question function on your webinar dashboard to get in touch with us. All of you should be muted right now, and both your screens and your voice. So the best way to get in touch with us, of course, is through questions. You can actually send a chat message to the entire group as well. So if you have some comments that you want to make, that you want to share, definitely use that chat message. All right, so without any further ado, why don't we get started? So you've met Laura and I already, and I just want to send out a special welcome to everyone across the region and beyond to this webinar. We have guests here from Parkland, from Marigold. I think there might be someone from Peace and Northern Lights on here as well. If there's any regions that I haven't mentioned here, feel free to just pop it in the questions and we'll make sure to acknowledge you. And thank you all for attending. Just a really quick overview of today's session. We're going to start with what was promised in the title of the webinar, and that is an overview of a product or a tool called LibraryAware. We're going to take a tour of LibraryAware. We're going to do a quick demo. So I'm going to show you just a couple of fun, easy things that you can do in LibraryAware in terms of creating social media content or other communication style content within that product. And we're going to talk about how to get subscribers to your newsletters or your other content, because that's an important piece, is getting your content out there to your users. I did also want to take a little bit of time stepping back from LibraryAware and just give you a few social media tips and tricks. So I want to talk very briefly about the idea of brand boards and how important they are in the creation of social media content for your library. I want to talk to you about a social media calendar planning process that can be really effective in planning out how you want to communicate with your users. And I want to show you a super quick glimpse into two other tools that are really, really useful. We're not going to have an opportunity to get into them and get into the ins and outs of them, but I do want to introduce them to you because they are quite powerful, even in their free versions. We use the free versions at YRL, and we're quite happy with them. And those two tools are called Canva and Hootsuite. So that's what we're going to be talking about there. Whoops, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Let me just go back to my... You know what, guys? It's my mouse. It's not cooperating with me. As Laura can attest, it was my mouse that was causing all of those troubles there a moment ago. All right, we're back on the keyboard here. All right. I want to just give you a really quick overview of the documentation that I have shared with you for today. So in your handout section, you will find a LibraryAware manual. We have borrowed this manual from the Northern Lights Library System. It's an incredibly detailed overview, not even overview, deep dive into LibraryAware, and a really great place to get some of your questions answered. I've posted these slides on there because, as you'll see in a slide or two ahead, there's a few links in there to content that I think you might want to look at. So I thought I'll give you these slides here right away so you don't have to wait for when I'm finally able to post this webinar. I've given you a sample brand board template. We'll talk about what that is and how you might want to use that later on in the webinar. And a sample social media content calendar. All right, so all of that documentation should be there in your handout, so you can go in, grab that good stuff. If you don't have an opportunity to grab it during our live webinar here, I will be creating a training instance on the YRL page. It's not done yet, unfortunately, but I will be creating that with all of these goodies, all of this content, a recording of this webinar, and more. You'll have to give me about a week's time here from this webinar to get that up there, but that will all be there so that you can come back and review this and use all of that content to train your new staff if you are looking to train other staff on these materials. All right. And this is just a list of the useful resources that I'm going to be talking about during the session here today. We're going to be talking about anti-spam legislation. So this link will take you to the Government of Canada website about anti-spam legislation. And that ties into our discussion around subscribers. The LibraryAware website itself has some incredible support pages and cheat sheets, so do check it out. That's how I taught myself with the assistance of my colleagues, of course, but that's how I learned how to use LibraryAware. The LibraryAware newsletter, I just somehow got on their mailing list here in the last couple of weeks. And what a shame that I hadn't been on it before, because what incredible content they share there. Not just information about the LibraryAware product, but there's links to different tutorials and webinars on all kinds of topics that they're gathering. Lots of COVID information that they are preparing for users as well. So a great newsletter to fill up your inbox and have a look at on a regular basis. The Super Library Marketing blog and podcast. I wanted to see what kind of really easily accessible library-focused marketing materials or marketing training I could find for you. This is a website that we use quite a bit to post content from on our own social media pages, and I learn a lot from this, so something to check out, as well as quick start guides for the tools Canva and the tools Hootsuite. Again, I'm just going to show you those today and encourage you to teach yourself a little bit more about them, but I did want to offer you some links to some guides to get started. All right. Before we get going, just a quick sound check. These headphones are new for me. Laura, is everything sounding okay?
It's sounding great.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Yeah, my husband was telling me that I was shouting into my computer during these webinars. They could hear me from across the house, so I thought, oh, I better get a little microphone so I'm not disrupting the entire family. So hopefully this will be a little bit better for the fam here while I'm working at home. All right, so first things first, we want to talk about logging into LibraryAware. I just popped through YRL's own instance of LibraryAware. I know that most libraries already have LibraryAware accounts, but if you do not have an account, or if you can't remember your password or your login information, we can help you out with that here at YRL. Just use our generic help email address, askyrl@yrl.ab.ca. For those of you working in other regions, please just get in touch with your own regional library system headquarters, and I know the consultant librarians would be more than happy to help you out in getting onto LibraryAware. So that's your login information. I'm going to pop out of these PowerPoint slides here now and then go right into the tool. So just give me a moment here. Okay. So we're going to start our LibraryAware tour on the login page, and I've pre-populated it pre-populated it with my login ID and password here. So I'm just going to hop right in. For those of you who are brand new to LibraryAware, and this is your first introduction to it, I'll just tell you a little bit about it. It's actually a pretty incredible tool that does graphic design for non-graphic designers. So it offers really professional looking templates for newsletters, for the web, for social media that you can use and adapt and personalize for your own library and post. So for those of you who maybe feel like they don't have a lot of graphic design experience, most of us don't, right? We're not graphic designers, we're library people. This is such an incredible tool to produce professional looking communications content for your users. So just have a look at the LibraryAware main page here. You'll see this as you log into LibraryAware. The very first thing you see up here is the search bar. The primary method to dive into all of the hundreds, if not thousands of templates that LibraryAware has is through a keyword search. I'm an old school librarian. I like subject headings. I like indexes. I have not been able to find those on LibraryAware. Keyword search seems to be the only access point. If any of you out there have more experience with LibraryAware than I do and know how to get into an index of templates, hook me up because I would love that. But by and large, the easiest way to get into the templates is by doing a keyword search right up here in your screen. Just below that is a carousel of new release templates. So I think it's like the top 50 templates or top 50 newest templates created by LibraryAware staff. So you can see what's kind of hip and new. And I like it because in here, there's very timely and relevant information. There's some back to school stuff in here. If I scroll through this a little bit further, there's also quite a bit of templates and content created for the shutdown as a result of the pandemic and of COVID. So the new releases are a great place to browse for interesting templates. The next carousel is personalized to you, and it's called your starred item. So every time that you see a template or you create something yourself that you want to come back to time and time again, you can highlight it and have it added to this carousel by putting a little star next to it. So you can see in my carousel, we have starred a newsletter that we send out called The Loop. Right there. That's why you're seeing so many different issues of The Loop. Your carousel is going to look a little bit different, of course, because you're going to select and highlight different options. Just below is another carousel of staff picks from LibraryAware. So I think it's just the top 10 kind of favorite templates of the LibraryAware staff right here to have a look at. And trending now is kind of funny, is kind of fun. You could go through and see what's super hot amongst libraries right across North America. So I love that right here, there's a Tiger King book flyer right there, right? So I don't know about you, but Tiger King is huge in my house right now. I haven't given in and watched it yet, but my kids have. They tell me I would love it. And my husband's now starting to watch it, so I'm probably going to have to break down and watch that first episode at some point. So really timely templates here. Another one, another one called For Fans of Schitt's Creek. So for those of you like me who are huge Schitt's Creek fans and shed a few tears at the season finale a few weeks ago, we can bury our sorrows into creating some flyers or e-flyers for of books that Creek lovers might enjoy. So anyway, trending now is kind of fun. I like scrolling through there. All right. So the next thing I'll look at the navigation links across the top right up here. So of course we're on the home page. The promotions tab is the place that you're going to save all of the materials and all of the content that you've been creating. And promotions, you can equate that idea to a folder almost. So you might have promotions or content that you would create for teens, or you might have promotions or content that you would create for your summer reading club. And they're just folders that help you to organize all of that. And again, at YRL, that's the page that you're seeing here. We use LibraryAware primarily to send out our newsletters, so you can see them on the screen here. But I could imagine in libraries you would have promotions for such a wide variety of things, and you can use this page to organize them all and come back to them so you can reuse them or see what you've done in the past, that kind of thing. The newsletters is a section where all of your previous newsletters are stored. So for YRL's newsletters, we actually send it out as a promotion. We wound up not using a promotions template for a variety of reasons we won't get into, but newsletters are here. The newsletters that YRL send out are the very, they're just the boilerplate newsletters on different fiction contents that are created actually by staff at LibraryAware. I think some of you are on the lists for these. So newsletters would sit in here. The subscribers tab is where you can start to look at and think about your subscribers for all of your different promotions. So I'm not going to linger on this page too long because there's quite a bit of personal information of our own subscribers on here. I do want to say that we're actually going to come to subscribers as its own separate section in this webinar because it's such an important piece of all of this. So I do want to talk to you a little bit more about subscribers, how to add them, how to get them, how to manage them, and how to manage them legally within the context of the anti-spam legislation in Canada. All right. The second to last section here is a section called reports. So you can get all kinds of reporting features here. I think one of the neatest things, I just want to just give me a moment here, and I want to find an older version of the loop. That's the YRL newsletter that we've sent out, because what's really neat is you can dive deep into your promotions and see which links within your promotions have been the most popular. So it gives you a really good gauge about what's catching your users' interest. So here we go. Here's a version of the loop that we would have emailed out to our users on February 26th. Let's see if I can remember how to get into here. I had this all practiced out, you guys, but now you're going to have to watch me muddle through the clicks because I really want to show this to you. See if I can figure this out. I'll try one click here, and if I don't get it right, we'll move on. I didn't get it right. All right, but I'll explain to you what it would do if I had all the time in the world to click through to remember where I was supposed to click. What it would do, what it does is for each of these links that I've popped into this article. So I wrote an article called Books That Appeal to Boys, and I popped in a few reading lists, book lists, purchasing lists, as well as some links to research. I could go in and see how many times each one of those links have been clicked on to see what has gauged my users, my readers' interest. And I have to say, by and large, our users are really interested in reading purchasing lists. So we started adding purchasing lists to these newsletters at the end of December, just sort of on a whim to see if people would like them. And we see that people are really clicking on them. So that was some good data for us. You, of course, are going to be looking for different bits of information to see what your users are going to be clicking on. So nice little tool. And then the final piece here is the admin tab. This is where you can add and change access to your account. So within your account, You might have different users with different sort of editing capabilities. So this is where you can go in and change that. You can configure an opt-in page. So that's a page where users can provide permission for you to send them newsletters. And this is a place where you can configure that page, create a link that can be added to your website. We'll look at that a little bit more in a bit. And the other piece in here is template management. So this is going back to my earlier comment on branding and of the importance of using consistent fonts and colors in your e-content. You could do a little bit of branding right here within the LibraryAware software. So you can see here we've popped in quite a few different instances of the YRL logo. In the color swatches, you can see that we have pre-selected the colors that we want to use for each of our outgoing newsletters, so that we can be assured that the content and the look and the feel of this content is going to be consistent time and time again. So that is the admin tab. Are there any questions? Laura, any questions that have come up in the questions tab?
So far,
all right. Am I talking too fast, too slow? Is this boring for you guys? Anything? Throw me a bone. How's it going for you out there?
Everyone is so quiet on this Tuesday afternoon. So quiet.
All right. Oh, there we go. Thank you, Suzanne. Thank you,
we
Kaylee.
are all listening.
It's so weird to just speak into a screen and not see my audience. How I love it. Like, I just am so grateful I could connect with you all in this way at this time. Believe me. But as soon as isolation is over and we're back at it and I can do face-to-face, I'm going to give you all a hug and be like, woo, because I just can't wait to see you. I can't wait to have a class to interact with again. All right. Oh, you know what? I did want to quick point out the help functions here. Lena and I have both found that the help from LibraryAware has been really prompt and super helpful. So please make use of that. Get in touch with them with questions that you have, because they've been really great at responses for us at YRL anyway. I got back home, and the next thing that I want to show you is how to create, use a template to create a promotion. So this is going to be a super quick and dirty demo just to show you a few of the ins and outs of what it looks like. The real learning for you, of course, is going to come with playing around with it. You've heard me say this before in other sessions, you can't break this, right? You can't go in and break anything in LibraryAware, and nothing is going to be that you create will be posted to the public unless you do a really, just do it really deliberately. So please play. And I just see a question. How do we get the branding and the library logo updated? Do you mean having your own logo updated, Darlene, or do you mean added to just a current logo added to LibraryAware? Yes to which? Sorry. Added to LibraryAware. Okay, that's actually really easy for you to do yourself. So back in the admin page, so the question there was, how do you add your own logo? In the admin page, let me just think about this here. I think it might be, sorry, it's in template management. In a section called branding, you can add your logo. So if you have a graphic designer that has created some great logos for Drayton Valley, you can add them right in here. So I'm just going to click on create, and you can select images right from your own computer to pop in there. Does that answer your question, Darlene? Okay, I hope it does. I haven't heard anything, so hopefully that will cover it. And Darlene, of course, we can always chat about this at any time. you can give me a call with deeper questions. I'm going to pop. So as I mentioned before, LibraryAware.
She said yes, it does. It does answer her question. Sorry.
Okay.
But she also said yes, but if we don't have a clean image, we need to get the JPEG updated by someone.
Yeah, if you don't have anyone who's kind of savvy with some graphic design capabilities, even just using Canva, which we'll look at later, then you would have to hire someone to get your JPEG updated and make sure that you have like a transparent background. Yeah, your image is blurry. You probably want to work with someone or do a little playing around in Canva with your logo to see if you can get it a little bit clearer before you start putting it onto your e-promotions. Yeah, unfortunately, LibraryAware won't do a lot of great work with your actual brand itself. It's usually a graphic designer you'd have to work with. So, okay. So we're going to use a keyword search to pop in, and I want to have a look at all of the templates that LibraryAware has created for COVID. They have suggested to use the keyword either COVID or coronavirus or corona, and we're going to use COVID. And it's going to bring up a pretty large list of possibilities, 401 that they've tagged with the keyword COVID, which is a lot to go through. And so that's where these refine pieces can come in. You can refine by format. So let's say that we want an e-blast, something that we can email out, or a flyer. Maybe you want to create some flyers for something that you put at the local grocery store about your services that people can just pick up and take. A poster that you can maybe hang up on a community bulletin board that's still accessible during shutdown. You can limit by format here. You can also limit by audience. So who is it that you're creating things for? So let's just look at the templates that have been tagged with adult. And you can see here on the screen all kinds of different options here. The wash your hands or COVID prevention image comes in a variety of different shapes and sizes depending on what you need. A widget is just I'm going to give you a crappy definition, but I think it's really just a fancy word for a little image that you put somewhere on your website or on your social media accounts. And depending on your design preferences, you're going to need different sizes of widgets. So that's why you see different sizes right here on the screen. Okay. All kinds of fun pre-designed content here. So you can see where this type of tool, LibraryAware, would be super attractive to people without a lot of graphic design experience. I'm gonna flip right here. So more updates. So you could imagine some of these would have been really great when you were first closing. These would have been some images that you could have used for sure. Cancellations. I'm actually looking for something specific here. If I don't see it, I'll do another search. No, I don't see it. But this gives you a flavor of, how to keyword search for something and then limit your search a little bit. Here's what I'm looking for. I wanted to show you this particular image right here, the one called coping, just for a specific reason here. So I'm going to click on create. My image in an editable format where I can go in and change things like the font or the color or the background or some of the images on here. This is lovely just as it is, but there's some things that you could do before you posted this on social media or sent it out in a e-flyer, just to make it a little bit more interactive. So here, this works very similar to, so if you guys have used Adobe InDesign or even Word to do a little bit of editing, for those of you like me who grew up in the 80s and 90s, you might remember Print Shop, where you could go in and type in your words and use all the cool fonts. That's kind of the idea here. So my mouse is driving me crazy. I actually don't think it's my mouse right now. I think it's my really, really slow Wi-Fi. And I could go yell at my kids right now to get off the Xbox to make things a little bit faster. But that probably wouldn't be super cool. So anyway, you can go in and change the fonts. It won't let me. I am like bunged right up on my Wi-Fi here. If I crash and this webinar ends, you'll know we can blame my children and their excessive Xbox use. Okay, here we go. All right, I got a cursor. We're getting places. It's not letting me curse the cursor here. All right. Anyway, I think you guys would get the idea though that you can highlight this. You can change the font up here. You can change the size of your. Here we go. Doing something. There we go. You can change the font. You can change the size of your, of your words. So if you're a library that has a very specific font that you use for all of your content that you put out, you'd want to select that font. So for example, at YRL, we tend to use a font called Open Sans for the majority of our content that we put out. So I would probably use a little bit of Open Sans on something like this if I were putting out for YRL. The other really neat thing in here is that you can take these images and change them. So I'm going to take this book called The Hot Young Widows Club, which sounds quite interesting. I might actually sign it out. And I can change the image on here. Or I could if my, Wi-Fi was working pretty well. Let's see. And a really, really cool function of LibraryAware is that it will bring book covers right in, because so much of our promotions, we want to be promoting books. And so it would be a real pain in the bum to search Google for images of the books that we want and resize them. LibraryAware does all of that work for us. By allowing us to, by providing us with thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of book images from publishers that we can use to pop right in here. That's what the designers of this template would have used to create this. And if I can get it to work here, oh, you guys, this is so bad. I can show you what this looks like. Dang, I'm sorry. And I don't want to hang up the training because of this. I'm going to leave it open because I do want to come back to show you. The other thing that I would do with this is I would right-click on each one of these books and add a link to it and link it right into the TrackPack catalog. And that way, if this were sent out as like an e-resource, a person could literally click on the link of that book and it will take them right to the catalog so that they can either place a hold on it or sign it out or whatever it is that they need to do. So I'm going to come back to this with the hopes that my Wi-Fi pipeline's a little bit faster at the end of the session, because I do have a lot of content that I want to cover. All right. Before we hop on to the next section of this, I want to talk to you really quickly about how to save and publish these items. So LibraryAware offers a couple of different publishing options. You can actually, once you're done with preparing your content, you can publish it right to your own Facebook account or your own Twitter account if you want. You can see here, I got this to work. You can publish in that admin area that we looked at earlier. You can link your LibraryAware account to your Facebook and your Twitter account and just get those things published right from here. That is not, however, what I would recommend that you do. You're certainly going to be wanting to publish these as part of your overall social media strategy. And so rather what I would recommend is that you save your images or your or whatever it is you're creating to your desktop, and use a third-party tool to publish to Facebook. The third-party tool that we use at YRL is called Hootsuite. Some of you might even want to schedule right within the native platform, and by that I mean you can actually schedule posts with images right within Facebook. I don't recommend this primarily because I haven't tested it, so I don't know how well it works, but also because I know that you would want to be kind of preparing all of this stuff as part of your overall social media strategy. So maybe posting something right away to Facebook might not always be your best bet. So that would be my recommendation, is to actually just not use the post to Facebook function, to save it. The exception to that, of course, would be your newsletters. I'm going to just pop out of this page here and go back to the LibraryAware home page. So, like I said, the exception are your letters and your promotions, and that is because you can schedule those to be sent out to a list of subscribers. So one of the other really neat functions of LibraryAware is that you can create an opt-in function so that your subscribers can agree to be added to your mailing list, and you can then publish your newsletter content to be sent to your mailing list at specific dates and times. So let me show you what I mean. I'm going to open up Scoop here. For those of you wondering from YRL, wondering about our Scoop and our Loop, we're not publishing those right now because, as you know, you're getting your daily updates from our director, Carla. And so anything that comes from our department, Library Development Services, is being popped into those for the time being. So if you've been missing these publications, that's why. All right, so these publications here were scheduled to be sent out. Just going to click on schedule email on their specific dates and times, and they were sent out to a specific emailing list. And my subscribers, of course, are all up here in the subscribers page. Now, we receive these subscribers from a variety of different ways. I just poking through here a little bit. We would have had, I think YRL would have had a different type of newsletter previous to the Loop and the Scoop. So we had a subscriber list that we just transferred over. But the other way that we get Loop and Scoop subscribers, and this is how you can get them too, is through an opt-in page. So I'm just going to show you our opt-in page on the YRL website. These types of pages are amazingly simple to create. They can be created right within the LibraryAware software. And if you are savvy with Sitecore, your own website, you can add that yourself, or you can have us at YRL add it for you. Sorry, I'm just walking through my path as I'm clicking through here right now. So, because I just want to show you what an opt-in page looks like. So right here is our list of newsletters, and it tells you what newsletters we have. We also have an opt-in for the newsletter from our colleagues in Marigold, and Kaylee, I think, is on the call right now. This is just a shout out to you, Kaylee. Total aside, they put together a professional development resource newsletter that comes out on a monthly basis that is incredible. I learned so much from it too. So definitely sign up for that. Okay, back to the main event here. You can sign up for our newsletter here. Okay, and this is a link. If you notice up at the top, we have left the YRL website and we're on LibraryAware. So this is just a super quick form that we've developed in that admin section of LibraryAware. We've popped our logo on. Darlene, you can see here, our logo is a little bit blurry too. So yeah, something I got to fix up. And I see Susanna has just asked a question. Was that Marigold for the newsletter? Yes, the Marigold Regional Library System produces that newsletter, but the content in it is applicable to libraries right across Alberta, and really North America. And so it's so well done. We would never want to kind of repeat that work, and so we just encourage our own members to sign up for it. So if you have questions about that, please just get in touch with me, and I can hook you up with that, no problem. So okay, so anyway, that's the opt-in page. And that's by and large the main way that you're going to be getting subscribers, is having them opt in on your website. Just getting.
We have another question, actually.
Oh, okay.
I have had difficulty saving an image from LibraryAware.
Okay.
I use LibraryAware to create all of my posters for Battle of the Books, but whenever I tried to save as an image file, the text would end up overlapping title and subtitles. This does not happen when I save it as a PDF. I ended up personally purchasing, Adobe to convert the file to an image file. So now I am personally paying for the version of Adobe to allow me to create collection posters.
Okay. Darlene, I did just quickly peek in on the Drayton Valley instance last night when I was prepping for this, because I know you're a power user, and I didn't notice that issue. Would you be comfy if you and I just troubleshooted that offline? Because it's just such a shame that that's happening to you and that you purchased Adobe on your own. Okay, let's do that then. All right. So Darlene, I'm just going to make a note of that, and I'll send you a quick email to set up some time to chat with you about that sometime this week, if that's okay. All right. Okay. We're talking subscribers here. Okay. So this is your opt-in page here. I'll close that off. And that's one of the primary ways that you're going to be getting subscribers. Other ways that you could get subscribers, I guess let me just step back here and talk really quick about Canada's anti-spam legislation. So I popped a link in the PowerPoint so that you can go in and have a look at the anti-spam legislation. But bottom line, our users have to opt in to any sort of newsletter that we prepare for them. It would be super tempting to go into Polaris or go into Simply Reports and run a list to get all of the emails of all of your users in the system and just send them out. That's so tempting, but you can't do that because that would be breaking that would be violating the anti-spam legislation in Canada. You need to have your users opt in. So of course the website opt-in, as I've shown you. Some libraries have asked for a written opt-in or have made an instance. I've not seen this in Polaris, so I'm not going to promise this can happen in Polaris, but I've seen it in Cersei, where there's a section right in the new patron, when you're onboarding a new patron, there's a section where you ask them if they want newsletters, they can say yes or no, and boom, they're opted in. You can run a report in the Cersei version of Simply Reports, grabbing all those emails of people who have opted in, and voila, you've got a lovely email list. So I've made a note to ask Stephanie if that's even possible for Polaris, because I think that would be a really great idea. If you're trying to get subscribers and users, you can get them right from the get-go when they're new members with their new memberships. You could get subscribers by adding an opt-in box on any sort of print evaluations that you distribute for your programming. So if you do programming evaluations on a regular basis, just pop a little box at the bottom saying, would you like to receive newsletters or whatnot from the library? There is some better wording I can provide for you on that. Yes or no, and if so, please provide your email. So any of those ways would be acceptable to ensure you've got opt-in for your newsletters. But just keep in mind, we can't go in and mine Polaris for emails as much as we'd like to get subscribers to our newsletters. Okay, are there any questions about that? Or any other questions in general?
It's pretty quiet so far, Jessica.
All right. Okay, I'm talking so fast, you guys. I'm sorry. All right. I'm going to try one more time to see if I can populated in form. So just give me a moment here. I'm right up, you guys. Okay. So I've just opened up a different template that has books on it. It's just not going to play nicely with me right now, you guys. I am so sorry. All right. No. Alrighty. That's okay. We're going to move on actually and talk, just talk about social media in general, because I have a few other things that I want to show you before this webinar is over. So the first is the idea of creating a brand board. I'm going to bring one up here for you to have a look at. I did a quick Google search for brand boards. And here is one just here as an image that I liked. And really all a brand board is a collection of all of your main colors that you use. So you might have a hex or an RGB number that you use for colors. Your primary font that you use for all of your communications, your secondary font for all of your communications, and all of your logos and sub-logos, all just gathered up into one really nice spot. That's really all a brand board is. I run a little side gig business too, and for quite a long time, my brand board was literally Post-it notes with like the hex code numbers so that I would remember to always use the correct color codes when I was creating posts for Instagram. So, you know, I upgraded a bit later on, but, you know, it just doesn't have to be anything nearly as fancy as what I'm showing you on the screen. It's just something that demonstrates that you've put some thought into the look and feel of the content that you want to put out to the public. It doesn't mean that you have to stick to those fonts or those colors every single time. You do not. Of course you want to be creative. Of course you want to, you know, try different things. But it's also good to have, you know, your content as much as possible go out with a consistent look and feel, especially your newsletters. And so a brand board can help with that. I've given you a brand board template to use to start kind of jotting down some ideas if you're interested in this kind of thing. When we hop into Canva, you can get really fancy with brand boards. There's some brand board templates in there as well. I'll show you. But the big thing is just to be really thoughtful about the colors and the fonts and the graphics that you're using on a consistent basis. This is also really helpful if there's more than one of you creating social media promotions for your library. This just makes sure that everyone's on the same page with what they're designing by and large. Okay. The next thing that I want to show you is a social media calendar. So if you recall, I talked to you about how maybe you don't want to just randomly post things as soon as you've created them in LibraryAware, because you'd want to think about your posts in terms of your larger social media plan in your library. Social media plan can sound really, really intimidating, but it isn't. And it's something that can really save you a ton of time. All it really is thinking through in the weeks and months ahead of what it is that you want to post, what kinds of themes you want to be posting on, what special days you want to create posts for, when your newsletters you might want to have your newsletters go out, when you might want to have communication go out about special programs going on in your library, such as SRC. And so this is where a social media planning calendar can really come in handy. So the link that I've given you is to a blank social media planning calendar, and it's just a clean version of the one I'm going to show you now, and that's the social media planning calendar for YRL. Now I have to be totally upfront and honest. COVID has thrown us for a loop. We're just back to blasting kind of what we think is going to be helpful and useful for you guys. But in the perfect world, here's what you would have seen on our social media content. So I've brought up the calendar for December of 2019. And what I've done is I've divided each day into a theme. You'll sometimes hear the word content bucket thrown around as well, or a theme. And the themes are there not to restrict me in what I'm posting, but to help give me guidance on those days that I have to develop content and I'm like, I have no idea what to post. So that helps me. So on Mondays in December, we had a member Monday. So on Mondays, my theme was something about our members, right? I'd look for maybe cool programs that our members were doing and repost. Or on December 2nd, I had a really great photo of the chair from Yellowhead and Parkland. They were together at the legislature doing some advocacy work, and it was just, they took a picture of themselves in the library there. And it was just such a neat picture. So that was what was posted on December 2nd. On Tuesdays, I do some sort of promotion of YRL stuff. So maybe a new database, a class coming up. And on those days that I don't really have anything kind of YRL relevant to post, I do a quote. So you guys are all familiar with posting a quote as a bit of filler for our social media content. We do that too. So quotes on Tuesday. Wednesday is all about YRL headquarters. So just trying to help our users get to know us a little bit more. So we post some inside scoop of what's going on. So on December 4th, I posted a picture of a mitten tree that we had gathered some mittens for charity and put them on a tree. And I posted a picture that day. Thursdays is an article day. So that's where I choose a relevant article that might be of interest to our users and post that article. This was a day holiday gift guide for librarians. And on Fridays, our admin assistant extraordinaire, Lori, that's her day. She posts really fun things. So if she finds library related memes or jokes or that kind of thing, that's her day to post those. And so I don't actually plan for those days. This is great because I can actually plan an entire month in advance to the best of my ability and have it done. I can put all my creative energy in one fell swoop, get it planned out, and it's done. Up at the top here, I've put links to special commemorative days. So I know that that's how I learned that on December 19th, it was National Build a Snowman Day. So I found some library related posts around that. I think I created a book list. I knew that December 8th was Canada Learning Code Week. So we had all of our content was around learning code that week that we sent out. And that's really all there is to it. And here I put links because we had someone else doing the posting at that time. I put links to the content that I had created right in here. Just a little note here about what it was that I wanted, and that is it. Just a tool to help me stay organized and on top of things. Okay. Any questions about this content calendar?
It's still very quiet
All right.
out there. Library land.
Maybe it's because I'm wowing them with all this info, Laura.
I think so.
Okay, all right. Are we doing okay, you guys? There's no peeps. Oh, good. Thank you, Susanna. Yeah, we're doing okay.
Thumbs up. All right, good.
All righty. So we just have a few more minutes left. I want to show you two other tools that are just invaluable to me in creating social media content. So these are just quick little show and tells. Both of them are free. So Canva, the first tool that we're going to look at, offers a free version for not-for-profits. I know a few of you, I know a few of you use Canva and have signed up for this. So if you need help with doing that, by all means, get in touch with us because it's a really neat tool. The other tool, Hootsuite, is a tool that we use to schedule all of our posts. Also free to schedule up to 30 posts in advance, which is by and large more than enough for most public libraries. So let's have a quick peek at Canva. Canva has a really similar look and feel to LibraryAware. There's options to create different types of designs. Their templates are far more wide-reaching because it's just a much audience, right? Facebook ads and postcards and posters, and there's a really neat resume function in there. You name it. There's templates for it, beautifully designed templates as well. Just below is a list of designs. So although this is my own instance of Canva, I have a professional version at home, so I have access to a few other things that a few additional things over and above the free version. So this is my home design. So you're going to see some personal things, nothing crazy, I promise, as well as work things. You can see the thumbnails here that I've created for all of our tutorials that we paste on our page. This was a Google Classroom header that I created for my husband for his Google Classroom. More thumbnails for each of the tutorials that we have prepared for you at YRL.
Jessica?
Yeah.
There is a question from Susan.
Oh, okay.
And she just asked about, she said, Canva will not accept CalMAR as we do not have a nonprofit number.
Shoot. Okay.
Well, yeah. On that?
That's something that, I recall this conversation, Susan, and it's something that you might want to pursue, but I actually think that you can just get access to the free version, maybe even without a nonprofit number. They've changed, they've opened up some of their free stuff right now, especially because of COVID. So see what you can do even without your not-for-profit version. Oh, Sue, you say you have the free one. Okay. Yeah. Good. One of the things, the big differences between the free and not free are the photos. So a lot of these photos that I'm showing you here are stock photos, library specific stock photos. Some of them are obviously edited a bit for Polaris, but this dude here, that's a stock photo within the pro version of Canva. You would pay it, if you really had wanted it, you could pay $1.50 for it and have that picture. Like that's really the difference, right? So yeah. And just to give you a little bit of flavor of branding, here. Open up all the design here and scroll down. Okay, so like I said, some personal stuff, but this is these are posts that I've created for my own business, and you can see that they all have very similar colors, similar look and feel, similar fonts. Photos have the same filter put on them, so they all look the same, kind of the same on my Instagram page, and that's just an example of following my branding board. So I'll just leave that with you, because there's some it just looks really elegant and really professional when your posts have a very similar look and feel. Okay. The last tool I want to quickly show you, and I know that it's 2:30, so do feel free to jump off this call if you need to, and that's Hootsuite. All right, I'm going to show you, this is the YRL instance of Hootsuite. You can see that I've been a little bit lazy on my social media here. I haven't posted for a couple of days. I got to get on there. But I can use this function here called New Post to schedule up to 30 posts for free and queue them up. So I could, if I'm really on the ball, which I'm not always, as many of you know, if I'm really on the ball, I can queue up a month's worth of content right here and have it ready to go, and it just fires it out. All right, so I'm going to leave that for Hootsuite. I just wanted to show you that as an option. If you are thinking about doing quite a lot of social media interaction, this is a great tool to get to know, because it really helps you organize all of your scheduling. All right, that is the end of my presentation. Before we end, are there any questions or comments or ideas?
There was one that I actually missed early on, so my apologies to Catherine, I missed it. She was curious about with LibraryAware, how do you sign your library up to use LibraryAware?
Catherine, yes, absolutely. Get in touch with your headquarters. Sorry, I don't know what system you're with, but maybe it's us. If it is, I'm so sorry. But just get in touch with your headquarters and they'll get you hooked up with it. Or if you have an account that you kind of have forgotten about, we can figure that out for you.
Okay, and there's one other from Kelly.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a couple. Sorry, I'll ask Chris's first. Is Hootsuite used for Facebook also?
Yeah, Hootsuite can be used for any social media platform and multiple instances. So on ours, we have 2 different Twitter accounts that we tweet to, so we can choose which Twitter account we want. If we only have one Facebook account, so we post to that. I believe you can post to Instagram on here as well. We don't use that at YRL, but other social media accounts too, for sure.
And from Kelly Huxley, we have just wanted to say I use the LibraryAware Facebook feature and like it because you can schedule your posts as well.
Okay.
She said I do as much as possible ahead and then schedule when I want them to post. They do not need to go up immediately unless you want them to.
Okay, that's actually a really good tip, Kelly. Thank you. I appreciate that. So for those of you who want to experiment with the posting feature in LibraryAware, that's Kelly's experience. Sounds really positive. So thank you.
And lastly, from Angie, she said, how do you link the book jackets to the track catalog?
Yeah, I was hoping to actually demo that today. If you have any experience adding a link in a Word document or anything, it's really similar. I should on here be able to right click on these books. It will allow me to add a link and I copy and paste the link of that book and track and pop it in there. Sorry that I have to talk through it. Somehow my LibraryAware is just hung right up and it's not letting me do anything right now. But Angie, for sure we could chat further too if you have more questions.
And that's all the questions we have so far, Jessica.
Okay. Well, I just want to thank you all for hanging out with me for 4 extra minutes here today. I hope that you learned a little bit. I hope that you're feeling a little bit confident to play in LibraryAware and some of these other tools because it's there for you as as libraries in Alberta. So yeah, and please get in touch with myself or Lena with questions, or if you're from another region, I know for sure that your consultants will be willing to help you with getting you set up with LibraryAware. Great.
Excellent.
All right. Well, thank you, Laura, for your help today. I really appreciate it. Laura stepped in at the last minute, so super, super appreciative. And I'm going to log everyone off now and join us next week where Laura will actually be leading the webinar. I can't wait. I'm going to learn so much, Laura. She's going to be talking to us about like key selection tools that we use at YRL. So a deep dive into CCD. And are you doing book list, Laura?
Oh, I'm doing 4 different featured websites on where you can go for all of the material that you want to purchase. And then I focus on our vendors and CCD of where you can purchase.
Do not miss this one, you guys, because it's going to be awesome. All right. We'll see you all next week. Bye.
All right. Have a good day, everybody.